Hi, I'm Tatiana Michelet and I'm talking astrology. Today I'm talking about the new moon solar eclipse in Virgo, which will be on Sunday, the 21st of September. So tomorrow the eclipse is going to be exact, and this eclipse is happening at 29 degrees of Virgo. Here, so the eclipse is happening as the moon is approaching the sun at the same degree. And the moon and the sun are both near the south node. That's why it's called an eclipse. When we have a new moon or full moon that happens near the nodes, like now the nodes are at 18, as you can see. Yeah, so when the new moon or full moon happens near the nodes, or on the nodes exactly, that's why it's called an eclipse. And a solar eclipse is a new moon. So new moon happens every month, and a solar eclipse is simply much more powerful and much more felt than over monthly new moons. And this one, as we can see, the south node here is at 18 and 22 minutes of Virgo. So because the new moon is next to the south node, we can say that this is an eclipse that suggests endings, clearing out, and release. Because the south node itself is a point of it's a point of letting go, of decrease, of where things basically diminish, and it reduces the energy of whatever planet is next to it. So it's a place of releasing waste and letting go of things that have become toxic and draining, or which are depleting more than anything else. So that means, like, if there is anything in your life where you feel like you are putting much more in that what you are getting out of it, then this is the good time to say goodbye. Uh, yeah, so it's the idea of things coming apart. So decrease or disintegration is a good way of thinking about this eclipse. So also what we can say about eclipses is that they basically change the direction on which we were heading. Like, they stir the pot, they reshuffle everything, and it feels as if we are not, in control of the events that are happening to us. Like, we are not in the driver's seat, uh, as we would normally feel like we are. And eclipse season is about change, and also that's a time when things are moving quickly, uh, because eclipses shake our foundations, and that's why it feels like the change comes quickly. And also, it could be, it depends of your specific chart. It could be something that you have been building for a long time, that is going to be changed. It could be a relationship, could be a career, your location where you are living. And what happened is that when our life basic foundations are shaken up, we have to respond and think in new ways of doing things. And at this time, we can have a sense of our usual routine being disturbed. And that is one of the qualities of eclipse season. And also keep in mind that the effect of the eclipse can still be felt 3 months after. So there is like a 3 months window of events when things can still happen. Because it seems a lot of people have the assumption that a day or two after the eclipse, uh, it's over. But it's not like that. It doesn't last. It wasn't just a day before or a day after. So even if for some of us, the effect can be immediate. For example, for me, I have already seen things that happened, but that doesn't mean that nothing else will happen, if you see what I mean. So basically, the effect can be felt immediately, or they can unfold over time. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, if nothing happens to you in the next 2 days, maybe nothing will happen, because if you don't have, any personal planets, or your ascendant, descendant, midheaven, or your IC, the most important point, or planets that are near those eclipses, that are, either squared, opposed, or conjunct this eclipse, then maybe for it's just going to be lighter, and maybe you feel like nothing much happens. But for those who will be impacted, you know, could be over the next 3 months basically. And yeah, overall, this eclipse is not going to be an easy one, to be honest. It's not going to feel like as good as the one that we had previously when it was in Pisces, because this eclipse is kind of like nearly exactly opposite to Saturn, which, as I'm going to explain, is not really, the most cheerful planet to have to deal with. So, yeah, so overall, so a solar eclipse is the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new one. Anyone hit by this eclipse is experiencing the ending of a cycle. Sometimes things feel like an ending, sometimes things feel like a beginning. And every beginning is the ending of something else. And every ending is the beginning of something else. For some of you, it will feel one way, for others, it will feel the other way. So, because this eclipse is in Virgo, we have to talk about what's Virgo. Virgo is about purification, discernment, cleansing, clearing up, cleaning, like cleaning your house, cleaning yourself, cleaning, clearing your mind even. And it's also about health matters, and it can be also about lifestyle crisis. The Virgo rules over the sixth house of illness, and work and our daily routine. Virgo is also about the numbers and data. And then when we think of Virgo, we have to also include Pisces, which is on the opposite side. So we would say Virgo would be order, and then Pisces would be chaos. Virgo could be reality, and then Pisces escapism, or Virgo could be being cold-hearted, over realistic, versus Pisces, which is compassionate. So this eclipse is also about balancing those two polarities. And this eclipse can have you overthink situations. It can create indecisiveness. And there is a situation that can actually be unclear, because, it opposes Neptune. They, you can also maybe feel like restlessness at this time. And some of us might, over worry about the details. We might try to do too much. It's a good eclipse to learn new subjects and to try to solve old problems. So if you want to find solutions to problems, you might actually be able to do this now. Virgo is also about organization, efficiency, sorting things into different piles. It's like, when you're trying to work out how a machine is working, when you have to follow lists and instructions how to do things. It's spending a lot of energy into planning and thoughtfulness. Uh, Yeah, and it's ideal, at this time to start to learn new skills. And if you practice any craft, it's good time also to try to master it now. uh yeah, and like I think I said that unfortunately for some people, it could be a time of health crisis in some extreme cases. And then Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and which is all about the mind. So you can use this eclipse to shift anything that disturbs your peace of mind, and to improve your mindset, and replace it with higher quality thought, spiritual thought, philosophical thought, to think, to do activities, and to take in information that will calm your mind. For example, this is a good time to think and adjust the quality of what you give your mind, and what you give your attention to. So for example, like if we go too much on social media and we watch too much like series on TVs, it's a good time to like sort out, what you're reading, and to evaluate, and to review, and think, is this actually healthy for me, So, as we say, a little bit of everything is fine, but too much of a good thing, it's toxic. So something like that is good to review and clear out basically the junk, and then to prioritize quality over quantity, because that's what Virgo likes to do: quality over quantity. So, also Mercury, with the ruler of this eclipse, Mercury is now in Libra. So, that's why we have to also talk about Mercury. And Mercury in Libra is interested in debating, discussion, and it communicates in a tactful way. Mercury in Libra can look at like both sides of a story, both sides. When people are if you are negotiating with someone, it's easier now to just see their point of view, and to also communicate in a respectful manner. Mercury in Libra is also focused on justice, fairness, and compromise. And Mercury is our ability to speak and make choices. Uh, However, in Libra, Mercury can be a little bit hesitant to speak up for itself. So also because this eclipse is happening on the south node, we can feel like there is something that was damaged, or like a deprivation, some kind of energy and support that is not there anymore. And also with Saturn opposing this eclipse, it also again, it talks of like, some blockage, something that we don't have access to, some kind of loss. That's the south node as well, loss. So although this is a solar eclipse, a new moon, where we are supposed to start something, because it's on the south node, we have to first clear, and let go. We have to become clear in our mind what we want to say no to, and stay still in between two places. We have to like be patient, while we are being between what was and what will be. We have to wait in an empty space before it's time to allow the new in, back again. uh because yeah, as we have the eclipse on the south node opposite to Saturn, we might also feel like a bit tired, like we need to rest, and also unable to make mental decisions with clarity. So the advice is to allow your mind to rest and to tell yourself that it's okay to chill and to relax, and do whatever spiritual activity works for you, whatever that means for you. Because like now it's not really a time to go chasing materialistic goals. It's more a vibe that asks us to let it go and surrender, so that when we be recharged and ready to start fresh, we can do so on better grounds. So this new moon is opposite Saturn, who is in Pisces, with the North Node who is in Pisces, ruled by Neptune next to it. And so Pisces is asking us to have faith, to believe that if something is ending, it is for a reason. If something is ending, it is because something else is going to come and something new is being born. We are going to see endings and changes in the world event and also in our own lives. So it will serve us well to distance ourselves from things we need to cleanse and that are toxic for our mental well-being and for our physical health. Although again it won't be easy because Saturn is not an easy energy to deal with, and again it's like quite harsh because it's nearly exact on the other side of this eclipse. So it's a good time to purify our daily lives by sorting through the details that we've had in mind and that we glossed over. It is not necessary to be realistic and to take into account the uncomfortable or disappointing facts that we have embellished and that we have dismissed as insignificant because it is now all coming up to the surface. So you can think about where that is in your life. What is your story? Where there may be some endings taking place. If something changes or comes to an end in your life, whether it is a change in your job or a change in a family situation, in a change in relationships, your relationship stages could change. For example, if you were a Virgo or a Pisces, this is in your relating access, for example. So for you, it could be like your relationship stages change. For some, it could be friendships, or like I said, could be health situations. Whatever happened at this time, keep in mind that everything is happening in right timing. And it's good to remind ourselves of the qualities of Pisces, which are the ability to be caring and compassionate towards ourselves and towards others. And also the capability of tuning in with the unseen, with the imagination to tap in to our inspirations, to have visions and dreams, that and also to be connected to spirit. People who are psychic often they have a lot of Pisces energy or 12th house energy, for example. So these are all the higher vibrations of Pisces, because we know the shadow of Pisces. Unfortunately, it's most of the time, we deal with the shadow of Pisces, which is to do with delusion, illusions, shady stuff. Yeah, lies and scams and a lot of darkness like this. So I said all that. So yeah, we have to like remember, now if we are overwhelmed with all these Virgo details, remember to also, tune into our own compassion and balance both sides. So, like I said, Saturn is opposing this eclipse, and that's why we have to slowly put our new plans in place with dedication, without blowing things out of proportion. Progressive change over time allows for better integration and for no burnout. Because with Saturn, there is a slowness and there is a tiredness. Also, Saturn, make us feel pessimistic. Uh, and Saturn itself can be very pessimistic. And when we add the fact that Virgo can be very critical, and then we bring those two energies together, we can see, how with Virgo, we can see all the details, and just feel like there is always going to be something wrong, like we can just become overcritical. But we have to realize that it's better to let things flow a bit more. Remember the Pisces polarity, and to let go of being over controlling about how every little thing is going to happen. And with Saturn, we have not much choice but to actually prioritize and work on only a few, and to work only on the most important projects that really matter to us at this time, because we do not have the energy and time to be doing so many things. And that's why Saturn is bringing back our focus to what matters most. And at this time, Saturn is clearly telling us what is going to work out and what is not going to work out. Uh, we often call Saturn as the one, the planet that can say no, that can say you can't do that. And now at this time, Saturn is showing us what needs to be reduced. Or on the more positive side, is showing us what can bring results, but first has to be consolidated. It's showing us if there is a yes that we can gain. With Saturn, it's not like Jupiter. It's not just going to happen because we're just gonna get lucky. It's just Saturn is going to say yes, and then we have to keep, uh, you know, doing the hard work. And or yes, that will come after we continue to apply effort and commitment to it. So now at least we have clarity. Is this going to be a no? Then let it go. Is this going to be a yes? Then keep working hard at it, keep being committed to it, and know that you are guaranteed to see some results later on. And also we might experience blocks due to Saturn opposite, this eclipse. And so it's a time to rethink our commitment. Where do we put our time and energy? Because Saturn will bring closures and endings. And after that, over the next few weeks, over the next few months, it will introduce new chapters, but not yet. And again, this eclipse is at 29th Virgo. That means it's opposite Saturn at 28 Pisces. And so Saturn is highlighting reality and limits. The idea of getting clear where the stopping point or end point needs to be, where you need to have, where you need to say, for example, that you are not available anymore. This is highlighted now. Uh, and then we have to remember, like I said, the phrases and words of Saturn, which are no, I can't, not yet. And so all of this in this eclipse with Saturn and with the fact that it's at 29 degrees, there is this repetition that tells us that this is a strong ending, that's an important ending. And yeah, if it's not an ending, then it could be something that needs to be reduced. And if not, then like I said, at best, it's just something that needs to be consolidated. And there could be something that's preventing this thing from taking shape. It's not that it won't happen. Remember, with Saturn, it's about working towards the results. It's about trying to resolve and working it through. It's not about surrendering. It's not about walking away. It's we are if if we want something to happen, it's not about escaping in delusions. It's about working towards it. And we are not going to know how what we are working towards is going to manifest. We are not going to know that until the beginning of 2026, when Saturn will be returning to the degree it is at now in January or February. So now we are dealing with something that's not comfortable, and we are trying to move past something. So although we may have like a strong desire to do something into a certain way, because there's also Uranus involved in this eclipse, rather than getting frustrated because we are being slowed down, you know, we can try to trust in life and trust in God, and show respect, like acknowledge that Saturn is there and that it is there for a reason. Maybe what we want now, maybe it's not the right thing for us. Maybe it's not the right time. Maybe if we had that thing now, we would hurt ourselves with it. And so maybe Saturn, not maybe, it's highly likely Saturn is saying no. Saturn says no always for our protection. It's like a parent when parents say no to their children, to young children, it's for their protection. So that's why, there's no reason to be frustrated. Whatever is gone, whatever didn't work out, it's because it was not the right time, and maybe because there is something else better for us. Maybe now it's just the time to reflect on it, and when the time will be right, we'll be able to either have something better, or have the thing that we wanted now, but make better use of it. So, for example, if I can talk for myself, I had this at this eclipse, I had this experience that I wanted to go ahead and do something with a certain person, and then it ended up being a no. And so at first, I was being disappointed. All these things I said, frustrated and all of that. And then after I just thought about it, and then I looked at alternatives. Then I realized that I was too focused on that one thing that I wanted, in on that one plan, how I thought this was going to work into a specific way. But then when I had this no, and then I looked at other options, then I realized that actually it would probably be better for me. So then now I feel like I actually find some better alternatives that fits me better. So I think the thing I wanted was not actually the best thing for me. And so, it's unfortunate, but actually I feel better about it. And so, i- i- if that thing that I wanted comes back later, I will still take it, But now I'll have that thing I wanted, and I'll have other options which I need. As before, I was so focused on one thing that I didn't see the alternatives. So you see how not having what we want, can serve us for our greater good, basically. So also we have to talk about the fact that this eclipse is at 29 degree of Virgo. 29 degree of Virgo is about, watch not to overthink and to be over self-critical, because this can be a point of crisis, the 29 degree of Virgo. I think the Sabian symbol for the 29 degree of Virgo, it's something like a call, an emergency call. So the Sabian symbol for 29 degrees of Virgo, this one is a false call unheard in attention to immediate service. Safeguard. So there are many, but yeah, I thought it was like about a call. A false call unheard in attention to immediate service. So, I mean, if you want to reflect on this, that's the Sabian symbol. Overall, the 29 degree is called an anaretic degree, meaning a life-threatening degree. It's an ending, or we have to get out of a situation, and it's like there is an emergency. It is critical. Something has to be dealt with now, and we must take care of it now. And so, yeah, this eclipse is happening at the 29 anaretic degree, which basically means the last degree of a zodiac sign. And the planet is most powerful when it's entering a zodiac sign and when it's leaving a zodiac sign. So to have an eclipse at the very last degree of Virgo, it's going to be very powerful. Solar eclipse at 29 Virgo, it can also mean that some patterns that we have outgrown are surfacing, and that we can allow ourselves to let them go, and that we are ready to detach from it, to detach from the outdated, situations. And maybe it's people or things that we have outgrown in our life. So a 29 degree in general, it's talks about wrapping up something. It's a culmination point. And then also, in this case, it's the very last day of the season, because the sun is at 29 degree. Then it's going to go at 0 of Libra, which is a cardinal sign, which starts a new season. Um, yeah, so it means that this is the end of the season. Like it's really exhausted. There's a lot of exhaustion when we think about it in this eclipse, with the end of the season, the 29 degree, the end of the sign of Virgo, Saturn, which we said, talks about being exhausted, being tired. Saturn also has, a symbol of cutting thing. Uh, yeah, so for example, that's why I'm showing you, like, for example, this book, like I read it, it's a book about Saturn, which is really good. It's also about Saturn. But like, this is, you see, like on this picture, this symbol, this is like about cutting. So this is like one of the symbol of Saturn. So, I think I was saying that was all this eclipse, it's got all this energy about endings, and letting things go and clearing things out. Also, for those of you who are into decans, the last decan of Virgo is supposed to not be that great. I think it's about things that are morbid, and it also talks a bit of like destruction. So, it's like another sign of this is the time of letting things go. But yeah, so apart from it, there is also, I mean, part of it as well, the Mars square Pluto, things that is coming as well, to be exact, because Mars is soon going to be in Scorpio, and then we see that Pluto is at 129 of Aquarius. So when there is a Mars square Pluto, that means that there is a tension, and the tension means that evolution is happening. That's the higher vibration of it. There is tension, and then there is a breakthrough, and then there is a evolution. It's about breaking free, and yeah, it's like Mars that wants to do something and is ready to do it, and is fired up to go ahead and to start something new. And yeah, something new, because also we can see Pluto is at number one, it's the number of Aries, the sign of starting something new. And then Mars is also about starting something new and going ahead on your own and start something new. So there's like a lot of energy to that, if that it's a lot of explosive energy, but if this energy is channeled properly, then it can be a useful source. It can be a useful energy to put into a specific goal. On the downside, it can be danger, and then you or others might be upset. Yeah, people might lash out onto others, and because they are, when there's Mars square Pluto, people feel triggered. So the best use of this energy is that instead of lashing out onto other people, is to be able to just be an observer and just look within ourselves and just ask ourselves what are our desires, what are our unconscious desires. Uh, because Mars is conscious and then Pluto is unconscious. So yeah, we can just reflect. But with Mars square Pluto, that's the whole point. That's why it's a dangerous aspect, because it's not really a vibe of I'm going to sit down and breathe and reflect. So it takes a lot of conscious effort to use this energy into a positive way. But the positive is that if we make good use of this energy, we can really have breakthroughs. We can have nearly like supernatural strength. We can achieve things that we never thought we could have ever achieved. So it's either that or it's complete destruction. So bear that in mind, because even if you stay cool, it's good to go in the gym as well, do sports, play chess, just, it's like just, span your energy into some productive kind of way. So also Venus just squared Uranus, like it now is still squaring by orb, is still squaring Uranus. And briefly, that can be, there could have been some like romantic and financial upset and plans, that didn't turn out as planned. Yeah, and Venus square Uranus, it talks about a surprising love, liberation, excitement, relationship, and love. So I have it in my own chart, and really it's quite, it's just a lot of surprises. Could be good surprises, or it could just be actually someone that quickly came in your life, and then someone that quickly gone out of your life. Uh, Same thing with money, actually, could quickly come in and then suddenly, it's gone. Then we have Uranus, Pluto, Neptune, and Saturn all aspect this eclipse. So that means that whoever is affected by this eclipse will be affected into a deeply way. You will be deeply changed by this eclipse because these are all the outer planets. So it is like an important eclipse. So the practical advice for this eclipse: if you want to declutter your home, then this is a great time to do this. Also, whatever past is left behind served us well, and so we can let it go with gratitude. And what can help us to go through these times is, for example, to exercise, like go for walks, take care of your health. Also, it's good to know that successful outcomes are possible at this eclipse. When it matters dealing with documents, you take small steps and do things bit by bit, and you take care of little details. These can grow into a big success over the next few months. And yeah, to express gratitude to your body by doing grounding exercises to relieve stress, like meditation, yoga, breathing exercises, anything that helps you relax. And yeah, if you're hit by this eclipse, you might be experiencing the ending of a cycle. So, for those of you who are experiencing the ending feeling of this eclipse, what you can expect is the things in your life that aren't true to who you really are and which are not right for you to build a life that you can feel good about living. Those things could likely disappear. This is not an eclipse to be used for building the new or setting new intentions, because we know that normally that's what we do with new moons. But again, because this is with the South Node being activated, it's clear now that something is draining us. So we better reduce our exposure to what is draining us. We want to first be clear about who or what is draining us. Yeah, and then clear it. So, how to best use this energy? Know that Saturn rules over time. So, you might want to consider that it is not the right time to act, and it is delayed or denied. Yeah, it is not the right time to act, and what you wanted is probably delayed or completely denied, because Saturn asks us to self reflect. Yeah. So, yes, I said Saturn asks us to self reflect. So that's why now I took the Hermit card, because this is Saturn. And then the Hermit, you can see how he's looking looking down, isn't it? And then he's got the light in front of him, like, you know what I mean? It says inner guidance, isolation, self discovery, understanding. So that's the card of Saturn. So Saturn asks us to self reflect on why we want that thing, what are our real motivation. Because those of you who are feeling stuck at the time of this eclipse, for those of you who are feeling stuck, it means that there is still a lot that you have to learn and contemplate. There are still truths to be uncovered about what it is that you want, what you wanted. You still have to maybe find out, more about yourself and your true intentions. So all this to say, to not get too frustrated if it's a no, and think about why it's a no. I know it makes me feel better. So what you can practically do to flow with the eclipse, then you have to know what you can do to help yourself, to go through this eclipse, is look at your own birth chart. Find out what you have at 28, 29 degrees of the mutable sign, especially. And if you have anything, then know that over the upcoming like 6 months, this position in your chart is going to be activated by a lot of different aspects from the sun and the moon. And then, yeah, and that point in your chart is going to be emphasized and developed over time. So let this eclipse guide you in where you need to take a break or come to an ending. Take time to analyze how much you put into something and how much you get back from it. You might realize that what you like or want has now shifted because you gathered more information about a person, an idea, or a plan. So right now we are clearing up illusions, delusions, and fantasies, all what's there in Pisces. And yeah, we are clearing up anything that in reality, has no anything that has no root in reality in our day-to-day life, anything that's true only in our imagination. And also, whoever or whatever is the triggering fact that we would rather suppress, block, or avoid at this eclipse, there lies the key for us to move successfully forward. This could be an inconvenient or uncomfortable detail, which in fact is an opportunity and a gift if only we were to look at it rather than dismiss it. Then we could make great progress and we could overcome a huge blockage. So yeah, if something comes up and you rather not look at it, maybe in fact that thing that you just don't want to look at it, maybe that's actually the thing that you need, to move further. Maybe you are stuck because you actually don't want to hear that information.